Welcome and thanks for joining. My name is Erik Svan. I'm with you from HUGSI.green, Sweden. And it's now my favorite time of year. It's HUGSI launch season. And this is where we share all the new insights and trends captured from cities across the globe. And I'm super happy that you decided to be part of this. Thanks for joining. And if you're watching this live event, if you have any questions during my presentation, I think it's on your right-hand side. You have the question box, and we will try to answer you as fast as we can, or we come back to you later. If you're watching this recorded on YouTube, then you know down below you have the comment section. Please add any comment or question, and we try to answer you as well. Again, welcome. So, HUGSI. The HUGSI.green Urban Green Space Index. Some of you may know it, some of you may be new to it. It has been around since 2019, and we are supporting the greening ambition of global cities. And HUGSI.green is a tool that helps cities to quantify their current greenness thanks to our yearly updates. That means that we can also track the development over time. And due to the fact that we analyze cities using the same methodology with the same global data sets, it's also very easy to find relevant benchmark cities. So you can compare your data with relevant benchmarks. And that's why HUGSI.green is like a fitness app for urban green space. Great, good start. And these are the KPIs of HUGSI, the 6 green KPIs. And every year we survey the cities on their individual prime day to assess these KPIs. And you can see the percentage of urban green space. We split that in parts, looking at the tree canopy cover and the grass cover percentage of the urban parts of the city. We're also splitting that up based on the population data of the city, looking at the urban green space per capita. The distribution of urban green space, very important KPI, looking at how well and evenly distributed the green is throughout the city. And thanks to the satellite data with the multispectral data, we're using the NDVI index to calculate the average health of vegetation in the urban parts of cities. So I think those are the really strong KPIs that has been with us since the start. And this is what I will share with you today. So now it's finally time to unveil the new updated index and data for this year. The data I'm about to present is sampled during 2021. And we need the full year to analyze the cities on their individual prime days. And that's to capture them when they are as green as possible. And that's, of course, differs between Scandinavia, where we are right now, down to Australia and across Asia and everywhere. So let's go. Let's do this. And the HUGSI in numbers for this year, you can see we have this year 255 cities part of the index. And that's really great. 44% more compared to last year. And we are covering 600 million people in 60 countries with a total area of 100,000 square kilometers. So that's really, really huge. And we're super happy that so many new cities are starting to use HUGSI.green as a tool to track the greening of their city. And as I will get back to later, many of the new cities, they come from the Groene Stad Challenge in the Netherlands. And for the first time, these cities are also part of the index and the rankings, as you will notice, I'm sure, in a while. So these are HUGSI in sort of statistics around it for this year. And this year, we are introducing a big change to our index. As the benchmarking of cities is becoming more important, it's also relevant for us to find new ways for you to be able to better compare yourself with similar cities with similar conditions. And that's why we introduce these two new indexes within the index. We are dividing cities into climate zones and population density categories. And with the climate zones, we're looking at the latitude, the position of the city, and of course that really influences and affects how green the city can be based on where it's located in the world. Another thing that is really affecting the chances of greening is the population density. If you have a very dense city, it's of course harder to get the room and space for adding green, because you also need to support housing and transportation and commercial buildings and everything. And we found that both of these factors really influence the greenness of the cities. So looking at this, we are still of course supporting the global and regional views of the data, and that's also a very important perspective. And as you can see, this year we have an even greater emphasis on cities in Europe. So of course that skews the global KPIs a bit, but still, for if you live in Latin America, you can benchmark to other cities in Latin America and all of that. Of course, it's also relevant to track the global trends, and we will look in more on that later. The new index now here with the climate zones, we are covering the north temperature zone above the equator, the torrid zone around the equator, and then the south temperature zone below the equator. So that's sort of how it's divided in this way. And of course, you can also see that the north temperature zone is where we have an emphasis of cities as well. The majority of the cities are there, 83%. And of course, it spans from North America over to Europe, over to China, Japan, northern India, and such. So of course, there's many cities there. But of course, it's relevant, as you will notice later, that dividing these cities makes sense. The third way to really look at the data is the population density categories. And here we're looking at the density within the city, population divided by the area. And here we have found at least 4 distinct classes, and then we have the fifth one, the very low, consisting of only 5 cities, 2% of all the cities. But for the others, they are fairly good distribution. So that will be really interesting looking into this, and we'll do that in a while. Great, so that's the foundation of the index of this year. We will still, of course, answer the classic questions. How green are cities? And do they get greener? Of course, we will also look into changes since last year. And now we're growing old with HUGSI. We can actually look back 6 years this year and what has happened since then. Okay, let's go. How green are cities, really? Well, not so much action. Let's look at this. Most of the regions are fairly stable. Europe, we can see a really big increase. Of course, that's because we have onboarded lots of very green cities in the Netherlands, going up from 47% last year up to 51%. So that's a huge increase. We can also see North America growing 1% more this year, up to 37%. And it relates to a lot of different happenings, but we're also welcoming Bexley, Ohio, as one of the new cities in the US. So really happy to have you onboarded. And this is your first time in the index. Look into your ranking. Africa, I will also notice and mention a bit about. They are staying on their 34%. They were really struggling to get up there last year, and now they are really preserved that stage. So that's really good and well done from Africa. And looking into then the global benchmark of this year, 45%. That's the average green percentage of all the cities in the index. So that's something you can benchmark towards, but then of course you can look into the respective region you're in. So that's also a good way to consume this. With this percentage here, we could say we have an increase, but that's of course because we are adding cities that are greener than the sum of cities before. But if we look at the individual cities, what is happening from one year to the other in the cities? And through the satellite technology, we can actually monitor and detect all the different changes of land use. And we try to deem them either as positive or negative from a vegetation perspective. So are cities getting greener? And also this year, I'm sadly have to say not really. But of course, cities are developing a lot, lots of changes, both on the positive side and negative side. And also this year, the lever leans towards the negative side. And looking at the numbers, if we sum up all the changes, we can see a decline in urban green space for the cities of 90 million square meters. So that's a huge amount if you just lay it out there. But we should also remember that the total area of the cities is 100,000 square kilometers. So that's, of course, super much. So looking at the relative change provides only minus 0.009%. So that's a fairly small number like that. So divided by square meter, divided by population, it's kind of a minor decline, but summed up, it's a huge area. So those are some of the changes we can see. Another change is related to the health and vitality. And that's a more positive story, I would say, that overall, most of the regions have preserved their vitality, and some have actually increased. So the global average this year is 0.7. And this is on the NDVI scale, ranging from -1 to +1. So this indicates vegetation of really high vitality and good health. So that's a happy message, I would say. The change, we could actually break down into the different regions. And we have the negative changes on this side and the positive changes over here. So the first thing is to acknowledge that all regions have, of course, positive change. And most of the cities have positive change. But all are also having negative change. Very few cities where we can detect no change. So, and that's of course natural. Cities evolve and develop, and that's how it should be. And sometimes you take away some vegetation somewhere, and you also add more vegetation somewhere. And that's what we are able to actually share and present in this. As we said, the sum and the net of this is negative. We can still see that Central East Asia, that equals China, has the highest amplitude of change. They are doing most change compared to the other regions. But what we can say with that is that we still see that Central East Asia and China have a pretty good city planning policy. So the cities, even if they are developed, they are fairly green, which is really good. So this is how the different changes distribute between the regions. And I think that's relevant. And we will actually return to this change perspective a bit more further into this presentation. Then looking back 6 years from now, in 2019, we launched HUGSI with 98 cities. For that first launch, we actually looked 3 years back in time. So already then we captured data since 2016. So that means for many of the cities we have followed for many years now. And that can bring really interesting insights. And this is what we can detect when it comes to the total green areas in these cities and convert it into billion square meters. So 2016, for these 98 cities, we detected 28.9 billion square meters, and this measurement from last year was 30.5. So this means that over the 6 years, it has increased with 6%, and that's a lot. And also, if you look at the actual size and area of new green space, is amazing, 1.6 billion square meters. So that's a lot of grass to mow and trees to cut. So a lot of work need to be done there. So that's, I think, a happy message and a really impressive numbers looking at these original 98 cities. So I think those are strong insights. Okay, so let's go through the new data from a climate zone perspective. So this is, will be the first time we actually meet and look into the different climate zones. So let's begin with the biggest one, with most cities, 210 cities, 82% of all cities are part of the north temperature zone. And looking at the numbers, the KPIs here, we have selected specifically for the climate zones. These are high numbers, and well, all of them are above the global average. So in this north temperature zone, we have the really, really green cities. And if we break this down into the achievements, we can see that the green model city of the north temperature zone is Renkum in the Netherlands. So congratulations, that's the highest ranked city of all. In here we can also see Lupik having an amazing 2,104 square meters of green space per capita. That's really big compared to the 340 that is the average for this cohort. So that's pretty amazing. The next climate zone is Torrid Zone, just around the equator. Here we see 34 cities, 13% of all. Here we can see that they struggle a bit more reaching up to the KPIs, the global KPIs. So this is, all of them are way below and under the averages. But that again points out why it's important to really compare apples and apples when you look at the cities, because they have different natural conditions. Looking at the achievers of the cities in this cohort, we can see Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, as the green model city, the highest ranked of them all. Again, looking at the urban green space per capita, Hanoi with 127. I think that's way higher than the average for this group. So that's worthy of pointing out. But we have strong achievements here as well. The south temperature zone, 11 cities, 4% out of all. Again, we can see that also these cities south of the equator doesn't really come up to the global average numbers. So less green on average. Looking at the cities, we can see that there are really high achievers among these cities as well. Our old friend Durban in South Africa was the greenest city of all in the first edition of HUGSI. And of course, looking at their green percentage, 60%. Yeah, way above the global average, way above the regional or the average for this temperature zone. So I think that's really cool to highlight. We can also mention Sydney. This is a beautiful image of Sydney, having really good vitality of their green space. Worth mentioning. So let's move over to the also other new index, the population density categories. And I think this is super exciting. We will see really interesting insights connected to the population density categories. So let's start. We have the smallest cohort of this, only 5 cities, 2%, with a very low population density. These are cities with an average population of around 13,000 people. And as you can see, they are super green. Just in short, super green, way above the global averages, and with whooping 62% of urban green space, lots of urban green per capita. Here we also included the distribution, because that's relevant when we're looking at the density, population density of the cities. Looking at the top achievers here, we have Lupik almost all over the board as the green model city, a fairly small city in the Netherlands, but of course super green, as you can see, super high numbers. And moving into the low population density cities, now we're adding lots of more cities, 65 cities, 25% of all. And here we can see the numbers also really strong, not as strong as the first one, but still very strong numbers. 59% green, 659 square meters per capita, so super strong numbers. Looking here, again, cities from the Netherlands, Renkum in top, and you can see a few others of the cities in the Netherlands. Very green cities, for sure. And looking in then to the medium population density cities, now we are actually going into lots bigger size cities. Average population is around 800,000 people. 75 cities, 29% of all the cities. And you can see San Francisco here is one of these cities. Here we can see that the struggle begins a bit with having green cities. Still, this is around the global average, I would say. 46% green, that's a bit more than the global average. But still we can see that the stress is coming here to this kind of cities. Again, we have the hat trick from the Netherlands, all cities based on the Grønne Stad challenge in here. But very green cities. So of course that they belong here. And some of these cities are also fairly small in compared to the 800,000 in average population. But this kind of index is not really about the population amount. It's the density. So if you have a small area with lots of people, you have high density. So that's the point with this. Looking further into this, we have the next group, high population density cities. So now we're moving up even further. The average population is 3 million, really big cities. We have 53 of them, 21% of all cities. And here we really see that, yeah, they are pretty green, but still they struggle when it comes to urban green space per capita and the distribution. And of course, that's natural. Lots of people that need service, housing, transportation, and other things. So that's natural. I think it's interesting to see the tree canopy cover is kind of big for this kind of city. So probably they are going with the trees here. And that's of course always good to see. Here we see also we're breaking out of the Netherlands bubble here, and we again have Durban, our old friend here, and they are leading in many of these categories. But in the bottom we have Rome, Italy, with extremely high grass cover. And looking at Rome over the last 6 years, they have really improved over these years now, and have really been lucky when it comes to the green space work like that, and done a great job. So congratulations, Rome. The last category now, very high population density cities, 57 cities, 22% of the cities. Here they're really big. Average size 6.5 million. And looking at the total population here, I think that's really interesting. More than 370 million people living in these 57 cities. So more than half of the 600 of the HUGSI index live in these 22% cities. And of course, that brings also that the numbers are fairly low compared to the global average. But of course, they struggle also with availability like that. So that's why I think that's super interesting and very important to track and follow the cities based on their location and based on their population density, because that's where the struggle is. Looking at the achievers here, we can see Dar es Salaam in Tanzania being the green model city of this cohort, highest ranked city. Another very interesting thing here is Dhaka in Bangladesh with 61% distribution. And comparing that with the 19% average for this group, I think that's really amazing. And talking about distribution of green space, I don't know if you know that, but it's my favorite KPI of all. And it's somewhat a hidden KPI. We haven't really brought it up so much before. So today I will try to explain it and see if you can share my love for this KPI. And here you can see a typical map from HUGSI, a random city. I don't know if someone knows, can recognize what it is. I won't tell you. But you can see that we have the hexagons, the dots, the pixels in this maps. And the green ones, of course, contain vegetation. And the gray ones, they are mainly hard-made surface. And of course, this map shows only the most common class. So there could be vegetation also in these, but low numbers. Doesn't matter. But in this map, we can visually see and understand if the distribution is good. Do we see green dots all over? Well, I think this example would be that it's not super distributed. You can still see lots of coherent gray areas connected. So it's not perfect, but the point here is that with our eye, we can naturally see on this picture. But how can we transform and convert this visual representation into numbers? And I will show that, because with numbers we can compare, we can rank, we can rate, and all of that. So what we do, these hexagons, as I said, contains data and values. So looking at the green percentage of each hexagon, that means that we can put them all on a line like that. These are the individual hexagons. We put them on a line and we order them in numeric order. And this is one example. One city with two hexagons here with extremely high green space, one with very low, and some are totally empty when it comes to green space. Then we have city number 2, where we can see lower numbers, but still all hexagons have a number. And what we do, we put them out on a line, and then we take the median value. So the median of this indicates the distribution of the green in the city. So for city number 1, the number is 10%. For city number 2, it's 30%. So that's how we can convert this graphical representation into a number that we can actually use in the statistics. So that's this KPI for you, but how can we make use of it? Well, one thing is just to put them out on a line like this. And my point here is that we could actually do things for city planning with this KPI. And I think that's super interesting. And here we have put out all the different categories. And this is the average population of each category. And then we have the blue line, which is the distribution, and the green line, which is the green percentage. So I think we all agree, and that was very expected, that the higher population density, the lower we have the green percentage, and also the distribution, based on what I already talked about with the competition of land use. And that's expected. But what I find really, really interesting is what happened here in the middle here with the medium category. the blue line is crossing the green line. So here we start to have more green percentage than the distribution. So that means that here we have more of the larger parks or green areas and less distributed green out in the cities where people are living and working and spending time. Nothing wrong with parks or big green spaces. That's perfect, that's terrific. But it's of course also important to preserve the access to green for people living in these cities. And of course that's a challenge, but there's lots of ways you can do that with pocket parks and green roofs and green walls and stuff like that. But still, this shows the struggle, and it's interesting that it's happening here. That's where we can see this line when the lines are crossing. So this is a great tool for you to look at your city, which category you're in, how can you benchmark with these cities, how can you find a plan for pushing the blue line above the green line, because I truly believe that having well-distributed green beats more green, probably. But they are also, of course, related. To get better distribution, also need more green. But accessibility and access to green is super important, and that's a way to show that is the distribution number. So I hope that I've been able to spread the love for this KPI a bit more, but there's more. This is an example of showing 3 different cities. Abidjan in Ivory Coast with very high population density, Athens in Greece with a high population density, and Charlotte in US with low population density. And looking at the numbers, we don't have to look at the numbers really. We can see that this is not a very well distributed green space. You have it in the outskirts, very gray in the middle. In Greece, we can start to see that there are green spots here also inside the city. And of course, that indicates more distribution, and that we can also see on the numbers. And with Charlotte, we can see green almost across every part of the city. And we can also see that they have an extremely high distribution. So here you can really see it and see the difference and see how it relates to the distribution KPI, but also how you can make use of this KPI. So I don't know, perhaps I've been able to share my love for this KPI and you see the value of actually treating this as a main KPI for city planning. So that wraps up the data and insights part of today's presentation. The updated data is available on HUGSI.green as of now. So go in and have a look. But don't leave us yet. The party doesn't end here. We have been working hard with developing new features to HUGSI.green. And I'm super proud to introduce them to you today. And we hope that this will make it even easier to consume the data, to understand the data, and to really act on the data. So have a look, and here's the new features of HUGSI. So this is the new HUGSI.green 2022. And you see here our new data pages design. Of course, we still have the global view, the regional view, and everything like that. But to support our new indexes within the index, the climate zones or terrains, we have added this new navigation in the bottom where you could filter out the relevant terrain or climate zone for you. And of course, on top of that, we have added a special filter also for the different population density categories. So you could see all the cities in that. And to really view cities from different angles, we added a new way to actually filter cities on different kind of membership. So C40, three cities of the world, that kind of thing. Um, the actual ranking folds out from the right. So you see all the cities in the order, but it's also filtered from the view you have selected since before. So let's look into one city here, Dortmund. So this is Dortmund now. We have received the data here. You can zoom in on this high resolution map. You have an overview here in this new data page design. You have some tools here in the far right side. This view can be expanded into all the new detailed KPIs in here. We have, of course, since last year, the recommendations for all the cities based on their performance, based on their KPIs. This is the overview of this summary of the city. We have built these specific views to gather relevant information in different areas. So we have these specific views where you can consume the data from the cities a bit more. So let's look into this vitality heat map then. You find it here, the toggle button there where you could actually uh, turn on this vitality heat map and then of course turn it off. You can zoom it in until you see houses and areas, and so you can really locate the areas with exceptionally good or bad vitality like that. Um, and then stepping into the other views here, the change view. And we had the map before, but here we also disclose the numbers of change. Is the city change positive or negative? So we pile up all the positive changes and the negative changes, and we calculate the net change. So in here you can track the overall numbers, but also the specific areas where we have detected change. So hopefully this will be a great tool to follow up on activities and understanding actually what happens to the green areas in your city. The next view is the tree canopy view. So here we have compiled all the data that we have regarding the trees, like this beautiful tree gradient map. So you can really follow and analyze where you have your canopy throughout the city. But we also have, of course, numbers quantifying the amount of canopy in percent and calculated into the area. And here you also have the great vitality map for tree canopy. So here is a spot that you should look into, I think, in Dortmund. So those are some of the ways you can interact with the data through the views. Then we have the tab, the yearly development tab. It's still there, but we have done some nice improvement on the graphs here, so you can really track the development for all the KPIs over the years. So for many cities, we have many years of data, so you can see how, for instance, like the grass or tree has developed over the years. And of course, you can also relate this to global regional average, but also for the other terrains and population density classes. So that's how you understand where you are. Into the area info tab, and here we have really remade that, bringing out new KPIs, new data in here, and you also have this amazing population density map where you really can understand your city and where the population is. So hopefully this will be of good value for you to understand your city, but also when you're comparing with other cities. That's a great way to understand how they are built up. And speaking about comparing, we have also rebuilt the compare city function from the ground up. Uh, you can still compare two cities and get all the KPIs stacked together. But this year you can actually add more cities. So you can compare them side by side like that. So hopefully this will also be a great way and a new tool for you to analyze, understand how you can do better, how you can do more, how can I be like the benchmark cities I'm following. So hopefully you will enjoy all these great new tools we made for you. how about that? I'm really proud of what we have really squeezed out of the green space data that we have. And with these new additions that the team has made possible. So I hope you really like it. Can't wait to get your feedback from this. Yeah, and as you could see, we had many new features related to trees and data about urban trees. And to dive deeper into this, let me introduce to you Alana Tucker. She's the program manager of the Tree Cities USA and the Tree Cities of the World, part of the Arbor Day Foundation.
Hey, Eric, thanks for having me. So, yeah, like you said, my name is Alana Tucker, and I am the program manager of Tree Cities of the World, a program of the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations and the Arbor Day Foundation. And in essence, the Tree Cities of the World program is a recognition program for cities of all sizes from around the world who are striving for excellence in their urban forestry practices.
Great to have you here, Alana. And perhaps you could tell us something about why cities join the Tree Cities of the World program.
Yeah, so cities join the Tree Cities of the World program so that they can earn recognition for all of their hard work. But also, I hear that cities really want a way to communicate with citizens and politicians alike about what trees are in the urban forest, why they matter, and why they should care. So I really hear that Tree Cities of the World as a recognition platform actually inspires communities and all of their citizens to really amplify the message around urban trees and why the time is now to be, investing in the urban forest.
That's great. And so, what is required for a city to join the program?
The requirements to be a Tree City of the World are fairly simple. To find them, you can look on our website, treecitiesoftheworld.org. But in general, there are 5 standards to become a Tree City of the World. The first is have someone in your municipality or government in charge of the local trees. Then to have policies that guide the care and management of those trees, what you can, what you can't do with trees. The third is to have a urban canopy assessment or inventory. So that's why I'm here talking to you today. The fourth is to have a budget or investment of resources on an annual basis for the trees. And the fifth is super important to us. It's to celebrate all of your achievements and to celebrate the trees in your city each and every year.
Super. And it looks like really relevant and also manageable requirements. And with the information about canopy we provide in HUGSI.green, would that fulfill the requirements for the tree canopy assessment?
Yeah, so we are super excited to be working with HUGSI because the assessment that HUGSI has provided on their platform of tree canopy and all of the rankings and tools that come with it, the layers are all uh, they are eligible for the third standard that I just talked about, the tree canopy assessment standard. So all we need to do is just, I guess, access that data through the HUGSI platform. And then cities can, as they're filling out their Tree Cities of the World application, can insert that information that they receive from the platform if their data is on the HUGSI platform to become a Tree City of the World.
And today we present many new features on HUGSI. And as you see, lots of them, these new features are actually targeting the urban tree care specifically. And what do you think about it?
Yeah, I think that's a great question, and the answer is not short enough for this conversation. I am so excited about these new features on the HUGSI platform. One of the main visions for the recognition program, Tree Cities of the World, is to be inclusive. We want cities of all sizes, of all resource levels to be able to be a tree city and to have a viable path towards managing their urban forest. And so platforms like HUGSI and all of these tools that you are providing for cities at a low one-time cost are going to be crucial in breaking down the barriers that cities have to learning about what's around them and understanding how to better manage their urban forests. So I couldn't be more happy about this tool and all of the new features that you're adding to it. It's so great to be partners with HUGSI on this, and I really look forward to seeing how the new data can help more cities become tree cities of the world and provide more value for existing tree cities to learn about their urban canopy. And I just wanted to say thanks, Eric, for having me. I'm so excited to work with you more, and congratulations on all of these additional features to the HUGSI platform.
Thank you, Alana. Great to have you on this digital event, and I'm sure that we can do a lot of work together helping cities to take better care of their urban trees. Great. And have you heard about the Green City Challenge or the Gröne Stad Challenge? We started this campaign last year in the Netherlands together with our local Husqvarna team in the Benelux, but also, of course, with our founding partners, Sweco and NL Green Label. And last year, there was nothing but a big success as we managed to onboard a third of all municipalities in the Netherlands to the challenge. And I think that's really great. And as you've seen today, they make quite a mark on the benchmark numbers. So they are really pushing the KPIs up. And we are now open for new cities and municipalities joining the challenge. So if you or your city want to join, if you live in the Netherlands, please make sure to visit the grönestadchannel.nl to sign up for this challenge. It's a great opportunity to actually build momentum in your city greening. Great. Yeah, so let's talk a bit about the benefit of urban green. And all through this event, we have been sharing and talking about green cities and the green space data available. And the benefits of urban green is well known. And as you know, it helps mitigating climate change, help adapting cities to cope with more extreme weather events, as well as social and mental health that comes with green space. And this thing with health, that's one of the biggest things that comes with greening of cities. And there's lots of research available now that connects lack of green space to disease and premature death. And one company that has really managed to connect green space data to data about disease and expected lifetime is NatureQuant. So say hello to Jared Hanley, the CEO and co-founder of NatureQuant.
Yeah, well, I'm Jared Hanley. I'm the CEO of NatureQuant, and I love nature and technology. And in fact, kind of the origin of NatureQuant started a couple of years ago. I was walking in the woods thinking about technology. At the time, Bitcoin was just starting, and I was just shocked by the value of basically a system to track unique numbers. And as I was out there in the woods and experiencing the benefit of nature, just kind of the relaxing restorative values of it, I felt like it needed a number so we could, ascribe value to nature just like we were for Bitcoin at the time. So that was kind of the origin of NatureQuant, and since then we've developed a number of technologies and tools to really give nature a number, so we can study it with more accuracy and kind of use it with intentionality to improve our lives.
Great. So to give nature a number, sounds like we have a lot of things in common. So tell us a bit more about what NatureQuant does and about your product suites.
Yeah, we have a couple of product suites. The first is Nature Score, which essentially is I like to call it like a Google Maps for nature. We've aggregated over 30 different remote sensing technologies to really get a precise understanding of where the nature is. So where are the trees, the parks, the bodies of water, even just the volume of biomass by location. And then once you have that, you can compare all those elements of nature to any given outcome. So the one we've really been focusing on most is health. So if we have health outcomes that are geotagged, so we know the location of those health outcomes and we know where the nature is, we can run machine learning processes between those two things to ferret out associations. Like, for example, if you live near a park, are you more likely to be active or less obese? Or if you have a bunch of big trees near you, are your asthma rates lower? And we have been doing that research. We're actually partly a spin-off of the University of Oregon. And we consistently find that these associations between the presence of certain natural elements and certain health outcomes are very profound. And so that's kind of the new intelligence we want to bring to the world so people can now use nature as a health tool and manage cities, manage their neighborhoods, manage even just their personal decisions as to where they want to live, what they want to do based on the health value of nature.
So greenness of a city equals health for individuals. And in many countries, I think even here in Sweden, there's talk about prescribing nature to all kinds of diseases.
Yeah, well, the concept of a nature prescription or a park prescription is has been around for a while, but it is certainly growing in popularity. What we have done, and this is kind of stepping now to our second product suite, is created a mobile app to really scale that and allow anyone to kind of write their own nature prescription and track it and gamify it, kind of like the 10,000 step count that became very popular. But what our app, Nature Dose, does is it tracks your time inside or outside, and then once you're outside, it examines the quality of your neighborhood. So are there trees nearby? Is there water? Is there a park? So that you start using time outside and time in nature with intention again to optimize your health. So, for example, kind of there is a growing scientific consensus around 2 hours a week outside in nature provides kind of a minimum effective dose of a lot of the benefits we see when people get outside. People seem to be less stressed. They tend to sleep better. Obviously, you're more active if you're outside and you're moving. Plus, just kind of taking a break from screens and the built environment seems to restore our attention and our ability to focus. So often people are more productive if they take a nature break in the middle of the day.
Great, Jared. Thanks for sharing your story and telling us about NatureQuant. Let's hope that we can continue our collaboration to spread the awareness of nature's connection to health and greener
Yeah.
cities.
Well, thanks, Eric. Yeah, we're super excited to be part of this partnership as well. I mean, we're just at the point where we're trying to share and spread our intelligence and our data and our technology. So, if there's cities or researchers or any other institution that want to kind of understand what we can provide, please reach out to me. I'm on LinkedIn, or you can just check us out at naturequant.com as well.
Thanks, Jared. I'm so impressed with what you are doing and how you can transform this data into valuable insights that really can make an effect. Super. So, greener cities is important. And there's also a lot of talk about nature positive cities. And I really love that. And as you can see in our new feature film, we have a new view dedicated to the change of cities. And there we can really showcase the difference from one year to another in cities on the map and with KPIs, looking at, is the city nature positive or negative? Is the sum or net of all the changes we have detected positive or not? And actually we have a big bunch of cities that manage to have a positive change, a positive net. 21 out of all of the 25 are actually nature positive. And 43 of all cities manage to balance this needle just in the middle. So balancing negative change and positive change. So have a look at the top 10 list of nature positive cities in HUGSI. In top we have Abidjan, and lots of cities here in Europe, Latin America, North America. So big hands up for these cities that manage to actually green their cities in their ambition to change and develop. So that's a really great thing, I would say. Great. To wrap this up, this is the learnings from the 2022 edition of HUGSI. And we have learned that the new global benchmark is 45% when it comes to percentage of urban green space. We talked about the slight decline between 2020 and 2021, but also the big growth for the original 98 cities over the last 6 years. So those are things to bring with you from this event. That's one side of HUGSI. The other one is, of course, all the new features. Do you remember them? One thing is that we improved the hexagon resolution on the maps with 6 times. That's a lot. So we have more beautiful and informative maps on the platform now. We've talked a lot about the new indexes part of HUGSI, the population density categories and the climate zones. We have the new beautiful data page design, which we hope will be more engaging and more informative to you. And we have the improved compare city function, so you can really make use of that a bit more. We have the different views, the tree canopy view, and the different new maps looking into population density, the class gradient map, looking at where can I find the trees in the city. And that links also to the vitality heat maps. So I can actually, within the city, assess where we have healthy and not so healthy green space or trees. And of course, the nature positive score, which I find great. So yeah, it's a great big new update with lots of improved features. And I can't wait to hear your feedback on this and see you make use of these new features. So that's really great. And if you want to be part of HUGSI, if you want to add your city to HUGSI, that's possible. And I think over the last years, we have been able to grow HUGSI a lot, and we have managed to also find the audience and to build a useful tool supporting cities in their greening ambition. So you can have your city on HUGSI as well. And we can onboard any city, anywhere. And you will receive these public KPIs and maps on the HUGSI platform with yearly updates. And all of this to a one-time initial startup fee. And of course, if you're in the Netherlands, I really recommend you to join the Groene Stad Challenge. So already looking forward to next year when we can share data about so many more cities from all over the world. So looking forward to that. Great. We have so many ways where you can interact and work with us. So follow us on our channels through our website, of course, HUGSI.green. Subscribe to our newsletter, the Greener Stories. Go into our LinkedIn page and follow that, because that's where lots of the updates are communicated. But we also have this great YouTube channel where all these films and clips are collected, where you can have a really good time looking into what we are doing. So we have great things ahead of us together. So follow us on these channels and we'll make it great together. So that is actually everything for today, folks. And it's time to part. Thank you for watching. And I really want you to reach out to us if you have anything to add or ask for or anything. And you reach us at hello@HUGSI.green. That's our email address. So stay safe and goodbye. Thanks for watching.